Monday, October 28th, 2013. This is Blue Sky's Truth Radio. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Truth Seekers. You are in the right place. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Blue Skies Truth Radio Show with your host, Bauer. Coming to you from our studios in the beautiful Toronto, Canada, this is episode 13. On today's show, we've got our first ever Grow Together event. We will be growing sprouts in the studio at the same time as you folks at home. We're going to be reading more from an article about Fukushima and the ways we can protect ourselves from the radiation fallout coming to a city near you by 2014 if it hasn't reached there already. We will be hearing about winter composting. And, in light of the heavy chemtrail activity in Toronto today, we will be hearing about the clandestine operation known as geoengineering, also known as chemtrails. On our last show, episode 11, we learned about fracking and how damaging it is to our environment. We heard part 2 of our interview with Jacob Curie-Moreland of TorontoSeedLibrary.com when we both met up at the March Against Monsanto version 2 in Toronto. And we heard how Ronnie Cummings is doing to help lead our fight against Monsanto and their deadly genetically modified organisms and extremely toxic chemicals. Alright, on with the show. Wow! We are being blasted today. For those of you keeping note of the crimes against humanity in the form of chemtrails, get your pens and cameras out. There is very heavy activity in our skies today, and if it continues as such, temperatures will drop and the blue sky will slowly turn into a white haze. It's kind of warm outside compared to the weather we received this weekend. Toronto's weather is calling for 7 degrees and pure sunshine. Kind of funny they don't account for the chemtrails. It'd be nice if they were honest on the Weather Network and we heard something like this. And in today's weather, we've got an absolutely gorgeous day out. The sun will be shining strong until about 9 a.m. when the chemtrail planes will slowly start their grid pattern in the city. By about noon, the sun should be completely blocked out in some parts of the city. I sincerely hope you guys do not depend on sunlight in that area. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? Well, geez, I wish I knew what we could do about the chemtrails, folks. This is one issue that gets to me the most. The artificial formation of clouds over populated cities and farmlands. Oh, it really frustrates me when I see the sun being forced down early as a result of a thick cloud cover hovering in the west. Funny thing, too, is you watch them spray all day, it's predominantly in the sun's path. In the morning, they spray in the east. Midday, in the center of the city, it gets hit hard. And in the afternoon, you can see the spray patterns moving westerly. It's diabolical, I tell you. Please, take the time to watch the movie What in the World Are They Spraying? And the follow-up, Why in the World Are They Spraying? It really goes into detail about the amount of money that can be made by controlling and manipulating the weather. If you can control the rain, you can control the crops, and therefore, indirectly, you can manipulate the cost of food, and as a result of that, who has access to that clean food? It's a brilliant plan, really, for those in the eugenics program who are trying to exterminate the useless eaters. Not a lot of people can see the plan for what it is. You can't see the forest for the trees. There are a couple of excellent songs out there about chemtrails as well. One is called Sentences by Radio Free Universe. Another one was created and sung by the producer of In Plain Sight, a 9/11 documentary. It's called Dave Von Kleist Does a Song About Chemtrails. And there's another song dedicated to chemtrails called From Their Point of View. There are more songs out there, but these ones are specifically about chemtrails. You can check them out on YouTube. I'll be working on getting permission to use them on the show. You know, these chemtrails are a disaster waiting to happen. Honestly, in my opinion, we should not be spraying them at all. We know what goes up must come down, and as a result, if they are spraying 10 megatons of aluminum, strontium, and barium over populated cities and farmlands, I would like to see some documentation saying that it is safe for all life forms underneath the spraying patterns. I've heard reports from the chemtrails changing the acidity in the soil so that organic heirloom fruits and vegetables won't be able to grow there. And from them also causing a disease called Morgellons. Oh, that's freaky stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out, Morgellons disease. Chemtrail spraying has been reported to cause asthmatic symptoms in people who are exposed to them as well, which would include just about anyone who breathes. Holy cow, ladies and gentlemen, if you breathe air, this should be your issue. Trying to play God and control the weather can have devastated, unforeseen results. Even though winter doesn't officially start until December and we're smack dab in the middle of fall, it's already begun snowing in Alberta. They got 10 to 20 centimeters yesterday. That's crazy. They were blasted with a storm and about minus 20 degrees temperature. On Saturday, it was 20 degrees there, so a 40 degrees difference in just one day. Those are some crazy times. As for here in Ontario, we just got frigid wind chills over the weekend. Cold enough to cause frostbite within 20 minutes probably. Let's take this time to top up the windshield fluid in the car, prep the trunk for the wintertime, pack a blanket, some batteries, a flashlight, maybe even a flare gun and a map. Maybe even a crank radio. Who knows, might save your life. Hey, it's Ryan from Blue Skies Radio. Do you eat food? Do you have a backyard? Do you have a balcony? Do you have a window? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you should be growing food. If you're not growing food, what are you thinking? You might be thinking it's a little bit too difficult. You don't know how to start. Well, give us a call at TorontoWormCompany.com and we'll show you how anyone can grow anywhere. 416-839-4769. It's your right to grow. I wasn't eating enough fruits or vegetables, that's why I turned to Beyond Tangy Tangerine. It's a unique multivitamin mineral complex in powdered form, a natural antioxidant that packs a whopping 115 fruits and vegetables within it to support optimal health and a healthy immune, cardiovascular, and digestive system. Give us a call today at 416-839-4769. That's 416-839-GROW. And we're back. Thank you very much for caring about your world and doing something about it. We really do appreciate it. Atmospheric geoengineering, weather manipulation, contrails, and chemtrails. A review of the Case Orange report by Rady Ananda. An international symposium held in Ghent, Belgium, May 28th to the 30th, 2010. Scientists asserted that manipulation of climate through modification of cirrus clouds is neither a hoax nor a conspiracy theory. It is fully operational with a solid 60-year history. Though hostile environmental modification was banned by the UN Convention in 1978, its friendly use today is being hailed as the new savior to climate change and to water and food shortages. The military-industrial complex stands poised to capitalize on controlling the world's weather. In recent years, there has been a decline in the support for weather modification research and a tendency to move directly into operational projects. Quote, World Meteorological Organization, 2007. Rainmaker Charles Hatfield in 1915 destroyed much of San Diego. The only conspiracy surrounding geoengineering is that most governments and industry refuse to publicly admit what anyone with eyes can see. Peer-reviewed research is available to anyone willing and able to maneuver the labyrinth of scientific journals. So, while there is some disclosure on the topic, full public explanation is lacking. A brief list of confirmed cloud seeding events is produced at the bottom, starting in 1915. Going under a variety of names: atmospheric geoengineering, weather modification, solar radiation management, chemical buffering, cloud seeding, weather force manipulation. Toxic aerial spraying is popularly known as chemtrails. However, this is merely one technique employed to modify weather. The practice of environmental modification is vast and well-funded. Hosted by the Belfort Group, which has been working for the last 7 years to raise public awareness of toxic aerial spraying, the symposium included chemtrail awareness groups from Greece, Germany, Holland, France, and the United States. Belfort published 5 videos covering only May 29th when filmmaker Michael Murphy, Environmental Deception and What in the World Are They Spraying, and aerospace engineer Dr. Cohen Vermeeren gave the most dramatic presentations. Dr. Vermeeren of Delft University of Technology presented a 300-page scientific report entitled Case Orange, Contrail Science, Its Impact on Climate and Weather Manipulation Programs Conducted by the United States and its Allies. Case Orange notes it was prepared for the Belfort Group by a team of scientists but presented anonymously. It was sent to embassies, news organizations, and interest groups around the world to force public debate. The report spends some time on HAARP, the High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, which is a military endeavor focused on ionospheric, electromagnetic, and global electrostatic field manipulation, and on other exotic weapons systems that manipulate the environment. While related, they go beyond this discussion of chemtrails. In the interest of brevity, the health and environmental implications of cloud seeding is not discussed in any depth herein. Case Orange does go into it, as did most of the speakers at the Belfort Symposium. Cursory research reveals a debate among researchers as to chemtrail toxicity, but whether that's a 50-50 or 99-1 argument is unknown. Contrails and chemtrails. Case Orange rejects use of the term chemtrails because it is associated with amateur conspiracy theorists. The only credible document it could find that uses it is the Space Preservation Act of 2001 introduced by U.S. Representative Dennis Kucinich. H.R. 2977 sought to ban the use of exotic weapon systems that would damage climate, weather, tectonic, and biological systems. Chemtrails are specifically listed, though later removed. No version of the bill ever became law. Instead, the writers prefer the term persistent contrails to describe the phenomenon, since all contrails are chemtrails. Persistent contrails distinguishes those that contain weather-altering additives from those that represent normal aircraft exhaust that dissipates after a few seconds or minutes. Case Orange also rejects misanthropic intentions behind persistent contrails. It shows that geoengineering is fully operational, but rejects it is used to sicken people on the assumptions that 1. Public health agencies have the public interest at heart, and 2. The economy is consumer-driven. The authors indicate no awareness of numerous reports of collusion between the pharmaceutical industry and government health agencies. This year, a significant conflict of interest report appeared in the prestigious British Medical Journal, which further heightened suspicions that the H1N1 flu and its vaccines were a scam. Nor do the authors consider that sick people will spur economic growth in a capitalistic health system. Dr. Vermeeren gave his own introductory remarks and conclusions, but spent the bulk of the hour presenting information from Case Orange. He frankly admitted the existence of persistent contrails. Quote, "We know already that contrails do exist because we do spraying for crops, for example, and we know that they've been spraying for military purposes. So chemtrails is nothing new. We know about it." End quote. Another quote here, "Weather manipulation through contrail formation is in place and fully operational," end quote. Case Orange cites publicly available material that shows geoengineering has been ongoing for at least 60 years. Used as a weapon of war in Hamburg by the UK during World War II, it was also used in Vietnam conflict by the US. Controversy over its use, revealed by investigative reporter Jack Anderson, spurred a Senate hearing in '72. Guys, there's tons of information on geoengineering, also known as chemtrails. Take a look at globalresearch.ca as a good start. Thank you very much for caring about your world. We'll be back in 1 minute for the final segment of the show, getting into sprouting so that we can help get rid of some of these dangerous toxins that have accumulated in our bodies. We'll see you in a minute. Have you ever wanted to fly? The very first time I saw my father fly by with his rollerblades, I knew that was something I wanted to do. 25 years later, I'm a trained professional. Hi, I'm Ryan from TorontoWormCompany.com, and I'm here to let you know that rollerblading is the best feeling I've ever had in my life. Take it from me, I've been skydiving, I've been go-karting, I've even gone swimming with sharks, but nothing compares to that feeling I get when I rollerblade. The wind blowing in your hair, people are smiling at you, they all want to do it. You can see it in their eyes, they just want to grab some skates and skate with you. Well, now's your chance, world. Give me a call at 416-839-4769 and you can learn to fly. You are now listening to Toronto's trippiest radio station. This is Blue Skies Radio, where we get together, share some laughs, tell some truth stories, and watch the chemtrails fly. Tune in Monday through Friday. And we're back. Final segment of the show on Blue Skies Truth Radio. You can find us on the web at bstr.ca, YouTube, and iTunes. Do us a favor, pull us up, throw a review down there. Let us know what you think of the show. Give us a rating. It is Monday, October 28, 2013. Happy birthday, Ken. Special shout out to you. Hope you're having a great day. God bless. We're thinking about you here in the studio. You know, the weather is fantastic. One day it's warm, one day it's cool. Please, I don't know who's spraying the chemtrails or what their purpose is, but I do know that on heavy spray days, it does cool us down when it ends up creating cloud cover over the city. So please, I hope they slow down with the chemtrails today and let that sun out, because I feel it. It's popping. It feels really warm today, and I love it. Thank you very much for allowing that vitamin D to soak into our bodies. And speaking of other vitamins that are soaking into our bodies, our first ever Grow Together event, where we are going to be growing sprouts in the studio at the same time as you folks at home, which is very exciting. You can start growing at any time, any day. As a matter of fact, that brings us to our quote of the day. This quote brought to you by Toronto Worm Company, where anyone can grow anywhere. 416-839-4769. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Chinese proverb. That quote brought to you by Toronto Worm Company, where anyone can grow anywhere. 416-839-4769. That's 416-839-GROW. All right, I thought that was a good quote for today's show. So you've got your sprouts in front of you and your jars. All the seeds have a protective inhibitive barrier on top of them that we're going to want to crack. What happens is the seeds have this barrier so that they don't just randomly grow. They actually wait for a strong, heavy rainfall, and the water actually washes away that barrier and allows the seed to start sprouting. So we're going to mimic nature, and we're going to soak the seeds. Now, the broccoli seeds only get soaked for 2 hours, and the arugula gets grown in soil. Other than that, the garlic chives, fenugreek, crunchy bean mix, and alfalfa are going to be soaked for 6 to 8 hours. They say you can do it longer than that, but I like to keep it to 6 to 8 hours. So fill up the jar with 1 or 2 tablespoons of seed, and then use 3 times the amount of water to cover them, and then soak accordingly. Now, once you've got that done, give them a solid rinse, and then allow them to dry out upside down for about 8 to 10 hours before you rinse them again. When you put them upside down, make sure that all the seeds or sprouts don't fall to the top and cover the hole. They need to be leaving room for air circulation. It's really important. So take care of that. Some say don't put them into cupboards because there's not airflow in the cupboards. So try to find out what works well for you. Keep an eye on that. Broccoli will have a really strong root development, so a lot of people mistake that for mold growing on them. Keep a really close eye on that. The strong root development on broccoli seeds will not be mold, it will be roots, but of course it could be mold, so keep an eye on that as well. And as long as you give them a strong rinsing every 10 to 12 hours, and you keep them in a dark place that has a nice kind of cool airflow, you should be all right. Don't allow them to sit and soak in water because, except for the first time, because you don't really want them soaking in water. You just want to rinse them in order to keep them moist, in order to allow them to sprout. Depending on the heat and conditions you'll have, 3 to 7 days later, you've got ready-to-eat sprouts. And on the last couple of days, what you can do is you can set them near a window and allow them to green out. That's when they'll grow leaves and turn green and bushy. You can allow them to dry out and store them in the fridge for up to 2 weeks. I personally like to eat them right away. That's why I really only do 1 tablespoon of seed. And then I just put them into a drink, blast them in my power drinks, and they taste delicious. So thank you very much for taking a part of our first ever Grow Together event. If you guys are growing at home, congratulations. It's pretty exciting. We'll grow together. If we have any troubles or any exciting times, we'll share that. We wanted to read from that Fukushima article, very scary stuff. A lot of ways that you can chelate and protect yourself is iodine. So that was primarily the most important thing that I wanted to do, was bring up the iodine. And there's an article out there saying, could cabbage protect against the effects of radiation? A compound in vegetable could help prevent sickness. They were talking about the humble cabbage. That could be the key to protecting people from radiation during cancer therapy. Take a look at that. Cabbage, cauliflower, and broccoli. So, for spreading broccoli sprouts, I'm not sure if that relates, but, something to look up and do some research on. This Fukushima event is pretty scary, folks. We were looking at some of the solutions that they're looking at. 3 major problems at Fukushima are unprecedented, each unique in their own way, and each has the potential for major damage to humans and the environment. There are no clear solutions, but there are steps that need to be taken urgently to get the Fukushima cleanup and decommissioning on track and minimize the risks. See, a lot of us people think that there's not even a problem still going on. The first thing they're saying is needed is to end the media blackout. The global public needs to know, and they need to be informed about the issues that the world faces at Fukushima. The impacts of Fukushima can almost affect everyone on the planet. If you guys spent 5 minutes looking this up, you'd be blown away. There are cores, radioactive cores that are missing, and there's radioactive water that's flowing into the ocean. There's a plant that's been in operation for 40 years. They're storing 11,000 spent rods in the grounds at Fukushima. There's 1,533 spent fuel rods that are packed tightly in a pool 4 floors above reactor 4. Before the storm hit, these rods had been removed for routine maintenance, but now they're stored 100 feet in the air in damaged racks. They weigh 400 tons and contain radiation equivalent to 14,000 times the amount released by the Hiroshima bomb. I don't know what's going on. Oh my goodness, that is intense, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just tell you, listen. Something a little more sane that we can control is the winter composting. I'm sorry we didn't have time to come to that. I promise in a future show we'll talk about winter composting. But, Jesus Christ, I don't know what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, if you get a chance, go outside and have a great day today. Do some research about Fukushima and the huge problems that are going on there, what we can do to stop that. Thank you very much for tuning into Blue Skies Truth Radio. We love you.
Ooh, yeah, I love that Blue Skies Radio. Dig it.